Fast and Furious actor Paul Walker died from a combination of traumatic injuries and burns.
With the roar of an engine and the smell of burning rubber filling the air. Sounds like something out of a movie, right? But this wasn't a film. This was real life. And it involved one of the most beloved actors to ever grace the screen, Paul Walker. You know him as Brian O'Connor, the fearless racer from the Fast and Furious franchise, right? But do you know what happened in his final moments? What went wrong that fateful day when a seemingly ordinary charity event took a deadly turn? Trust me, this story is going to leave you stunned, and the shocking details will haunt you. So, if you're curious, go ahead and smash that like button, hit subscribe, and leave a comment down below. If you don't, well, you might just feel a chill the next time you get behind the wheel. Buckle up, because this is the horrifying last ride of Paul Walker, and it's about to get real. Paul Walker was born on September 12, 1973, in Glendale, California. He was the oldest of 5 siblings and grew up in a small town called Sunland. At just 2 years old, Paul appeared in a Pampers commercial, starting his career early. By the time he was 10, he had already acted in a movie called Monster in the Closet. But Paul wasn't just about acting. He loved surfing. Acting helped him buy surfboards and go on surfing trips, so it was a way for him to follow his passion. Paul's love for cars also grew during his childhood. His dad was into motorcycles, so Paul learned a lot about them. His grandfather, George, was a car enthusiast and taught Paul about fast cars. At first, Paul liked muscle cars, but over time, he became interested in high-performance sports cars, like the Nissan GT-R and BMW M3. He even once tried to fix up his dad's Chevy, but ended up crashing it just a few blocks from home. That was a lesson he learned the hard way. In the late 90s, Paul's career began to take off. He appeared in TV shows like Charles in Charge, Who's the Boss, and The Young and the Restless. His roles in movies like She's All That and Varsity Blues made him more popular. But everything changed in 2000 when he starred in The Skulls. This is where he met director Rob Cohen, who later told Paul about a new project he was working on, The Fast and the Furious. Paul didn't even need to read the script. He was ready to be part of the movie, and that was the beginning of his role as Brian O'Connor. To get ready for his role, Paul spent time with real street racers, learning about cars and racing. The film was originally called Redline, but was later changed to The Fast and the Furious. It was a big risk for the studio to make a car movie with unknown actors, but it paid off. The movie made $27 million in its opening weekend and became a huge hit, leading to more movies in the franchise. The Fast and Furious series became a worldwide sensation, and Paul became famous for his role as Brian O'Connor. By 2013, Paul had starred in many sequels, with the 4th film, Alone, making over $360 million. Despite his fame, Paul stayed humble and down to earth. He was proud of playing Brian, and fans even started calling him Brian, showing how much the character had connected with people. Paul's love for cars continued off-screen. He owned around 30 cars, each showing his passion for speed and performance. But Paul was also known for his kindness. He started a charity called Reach Out Worldwide, which helped people affected by natural disasters. But what really happened on that fateful day? What led to the tragic accident that claimed his life and left the world reeling? It wasn't just the loss of an actor. It was the loss of someone who stood for something bigger. Paul Walker's final moments were full of pain, but also of pure chaos, as fate took an unimaginable turn. It was a typical day in Santa Clarita, California. The sun was shining brightly as Paul Walker wrapped up a charity event for his organization, Reach Out Worldwide. Paul had spent the day helping raise funds for disaster relief, his heart always set on making the world a better place. After the event, Paul's close friend and business associate, Roger Rodas, invited him for a spin in his prized Porsche Carrera GT, a car famous for its raw power, elegance, and speed. But little did they know, this joyride would turn into a nightmare that would change everything. As the two friends cruised down the street, the Porsche's engine roared, its power echoing through the business park. They were heading down Hercules Street when disaster struck. In a split second, the car lost control. Was it the speed? Was it a minor miscalculation? A momentary distraction? The Porsche, which had a mind-bending speed and handling capacity, suddenly spun wildly. Boom! The car collided with a concrete lamppost, then veered off course, slamming into two trees. But the horror didn't end there. The wreckage burst into flames, a blazing inferno that was impossible to escape from. And within that blazing wreckage, Paul Walker's life was cut short in an instant. The first firefighters arrived at the scene in less than 3 minutes after a 911 call. When they saw the crash, they quickly understood there were no survivors. The dispatcher received an early update from the scene. We have confirmed 2A reporting. There were 2 fatalities, which meant the 2 victims were confirmed dead on arrival. The responder also told dispatch that it was a code red incident, meaning it was a major event that needed special attention because of its possible media impact. Paul's body showed signs of severe suffering. It was found in a position called a pugilistic stance, which happens when the muscles contract from the heat, pulling the body into a defensive position, like a boxer ready to fight. This is caused by extreme heat from the fire, which makes the muscles stiffen and shorten. His burns were so bad that his skin was almost unrecognizable, and the only way to identify him was through dental records. His organs were too damaged to be used for donation. The heart of the story doesn't just lie in the crash itself, but in the chilling eyewitness accounts of those who were there. They watched in horror as the beloved actor, known for his charm and warmth, met a tragic end. Eyewitnesses who were there that day described the scene in eerie detail. One bystander recalled hearing the distinctive hum of the Porsche Carrera GT's engine as it roared into the street. It was a sound you couldn't miss, said one witness. It was almost like the car was alive, full of power. But then, something went terribly wrong. Roger Rodas, a close friend of Paul and a skilled driver, was behind the wheel. The 2 men had just decided to take the Porsche for a quick spin. It was a car known for its raw power, and it was a car that could challenge even the most seasoned drivers. Roger, however, wasn't just a regular driver. He was known for his expertise. But even the best drivers can't control every factor on the road. As the car picked up speed, something suddenly went wrong. Eyewitnesses described the car swerving uncontrollably, as if it was trying to find its footing. One of them said, "It looked like they hit something. A bump, maybe. And then the car just spun out of control." The Porsche, a high-performance machine, was built for speed, but it was also demanding. The car collided with a concrete lamppost with an ear-splitting crash, and the violent impact sent shockwaves through everyone nearby. It didn't stop there. The force of the crash propelled the car forward, slamming it into 2 trees, almost splitting the vehicle in half. That's when we heard the explosion. Another witness recalled. The flames shot up into the air like a fireball. It was terrifying. The flames quickly engulfed the car, making it nearly impossible for anyone to get close enough to help. Some brave bystanders attempted to approach, but the heat and smoke held them back. It was like a wall of fire, one eyewitness said. We couldn't get near them. It was like the car didn't want us to save them. When the fire was finally brought under control, what remained was the devastating wreckage of a car that had once symbolized speed and elegance. Inside, Paul Walker and Roger Rodas lay motionless. The impact had been so severe that both men were declared dead at the scene. As the news spread, questions began to flood in. How could something so sudden and violent happen? What caused this catastrophic event? Was it simply bad luck, or was there something more to it? The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department launched an investigation, and the results were chilling. They confirmed what many feared. Paul and Roger had died on impact. The crash's severity was amplified by the Porsche's insane speed. The car was estimated to be going around 100 miles per hour in a 45 mile per hour zone. A perfect storm of speed, external factors, and sheer force turned what should have been a joyride into a tragedy. The investigation found that there were no mechanical failures involved, but the car's excessive speed played a huge role in the accident. Could this have been avoided? Could someone have done something differently? This is where the story gets even crazier. But before we dive into the next part, hit that like button if you're on the edge of your seat. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next part of this insane story. As the grief settled in, another battle was about to unfold, one that would take almost 2 years to resolve. In 2015, Meadow Walker, Paul's only daughter, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Porsche. Her legal team argued that design flaws in the Porsche Carrera GT contributed to the fatal crash. They claimed the car lacked critical safety features that could have either prevented the crash or at least given Paul a chance to survive the post-crash fire. They pointed out how the seatbelts were poorly designed, trapping Paul in the vehicle when escape was the only thing that could have saved him. Porsche, however, wasn't ready to accept that blame. The company insisted the car met all safety standards and was well maintained. They pointed the finger at Roger Rodas, blaming him for the excessive speed and poor handling of the car. In the end, both parties reached a confidential settlement in 2017, and the lawsuit was dismissed. But for Meadow and others who loved Paul, the emotional scars would never fade. The death of Paul Walker left a hole in the Fast and Furious family that no one could ever fill. He wasn't just Brian O'Connor. He was a symbol of the values the franchise cherished: family, loyalty, and the pursuit of justice. The production team had to get creative to finish Furious 7, which was still midway through filming at the time of Paul's death. They turned to Paul's brothers, Caleb and Cody, who stepped in as stand-ins for their late brother. Using cutting-edge CGI, filmmakers even superimposed Paul's face onto their bodies, making sure that his legacy would be honored in the final product. And the song "See You Again" by Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth became the perfect tribute to Paul's legacy, capturing the raw emotion and sense of loss that fans and cast members alike felt. What happened to Paul Walker is tragic, but his life and his death remind us of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing every moment we have. Let us know in the comments below what you think about Paul's legacy. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with others who need to hear this incredible story. Until next time, stay safe, stay fast, and remember, life is unpredictable. Don't take it for granted.